Hello, this is the LEGO Ninjago Legends Kai's Fire Knight Mech set with 996 pieces. I paid $120 US for this. It's 120 euros, 110 pounds UK, or $150 Canadian. Comes with 2 figures, and it is able to be fully posed and played with, unlike the Dragon set from the same series. In spite of the fact that it is indeed able to be moved around and pose and everything and used on its own, it is well integrated into an action scene here that makes reference to the Legends story shorts that you can just freely watch on LEGO's YouTube channel. You got the sea monster here and a little fisherman that's being attacked or is going to be saved here. So this is, the whole thing is very noir. It's all very dark, the way that it's drawn and everything. And this is just representing the sea kind of, late when things are dark. I'm actually looking at the base first because I just kind of want to get it out of the way. I want you to see what's here and then get it out of the way and spend most of the time looking at the mech itself. This does use some stickers, but the inverted tile pieces here, which are curved on multiple axes, have prints for the multiple eyes there. You can repose all of these tentacle bits, which have kind of barbs at the ends as well. They're on ball joints down here. You can open and close the head a bit as well, pose that just very slightly, but it's mostly just opening and closing it. You got a little bit of shore over here and a little bit of pier structure, and the mech is attached to this with one Technic pin underneath here that's really secure, one Technic pin under here that's really secure as well. Here are the two builds separated out just so you can see the relative size, the relative mass of the two. It's actually more stuff that went into the base than I expected. Here's just a figure for the sake of scale. I think it was 3 bags of parts and relatively large parts, but because this has relatively large parts, the base and everything, it went together quickly and didn't feel like it was taking up too much of my time and too much of the experience of building the entire set. Speaking of the build experience, I was pleasantly surprised to find that you start with the mech, not with the base. LEGO very, very frequently makes you wait to get to the good stuff. Not with this one. It started with, I believe it was the hips, and then went to the torso, just like core stuff, and then you build out from there, which is exactly what I personally prefer to encounter with sets. You want to get to the good stuff, and I don't want to be doing like feet first and then shoulders, skipping all around and stuff. Like this really felt like started from fundamentals and then built out and ended up with something that's nice and secure. Each of the sub-assemblies went together well. The cape is the way that it's hung. You got this thing out here to kind of put it into an action pose or dramatic pose. You don't have to have that connected, of course, but that was a little bit awkward, but it has a really nice print on it. And this is a cloth piece. It's just slightly translucent, but it's really nice. This is quality, not too stretchy, this one, but the print that's on it is very good. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the overall build of this. You can see down here some Bionicle Titan style design with the extra hydraulic ram at the back to provide a little bit of extra friction in there and give it more range of motion. I'll show you some of the range of motion for this in general. But just overall, the experience for me was a positive one, and I'm glad that for the most part, the pilot does get protected, more than usual at least. The head isn't completely exposed. You look at it from the top there, you can kind of see it, but it's better than usual. This has a pretty dramatic shape. As viewed from the side with the torso, you see the hips are angled back, and then here the torso, I think it should be angled forward just a little bit. So I've got the legs relatively straight now, but yeah, there's some extra movement inside of there. But the great thing is, let's go ahead and look at the articulation, shall we? We do have full waist articulation here, and you can see that's on a ratcheted turntable, and it works just right. It gives you the right amount of friction, holds your pose as you want. And then up here, you got 2 axes of rotation, so you can bring the shoulders up and down. And of course, you can also rotate all of this forward and back. And even with the cape attached, you can still move that around. So you got some nice usable range there. And then once again, elbows, same sort of thing. So you turn this in and out, good range there. The pauldrons are not able to move separately. They're actually attached to the upper arms for a change, but it seems to work okay. It doesn't get in its own way too much. These flaps around the waist are able to move out of the way, so this moves. These are on ball joints, so good job there. And Bringing that up, you can see that you've got these stronger joints used as well. Sorry about the focus there. For the hips, so you can bring this forward, you can bring it back. That's usable range there. And there's rotation at the top of the thigh. Nice, very useful for turning basically turning the axis of the knee, and the knees do work, as well as kind of pre-aiming the legs, or excuse me, the feet a little bit. Now the feet can be moved side to side as well, just within their own ball joints down there. But I did mention that this has knees, and I need to stop doing that. There we go. So there are your knee joints, right? So you've got the traditional Bionicle style ball and socket joints there, just 2 of them to give it enough resistance. Unfortunately, this does open up quite a bit when you bend the knee, so it's too bad that there's nothing that covers this up, but the knees are there, they're functional, and I don't know, I think it's more important to have the function there and the posability, more importantly, than to have it looking its absolute best. So I think that this was a good choice that especially older builders are going to appreciate. And then you also have the forward and back with the ankles, and because the whole thing it's not too tall and it's pretty well built, you are able to get this into some action poses that it'll hold. Because of the use of a bunch of ball joints, I don't recommend leaving this displayed for too long, just posing on one foot like that, but it is secure enough that I'm not worried that it's going to fall over right now. But like I said, long term, because they're ball joints, a little bit of vibration in the floor. Eventually, that might start to shift over to the side and cause it to fall. But I'm really happy that I don't feel bad moving this around. Like I can actually grab these things and kind of handle them. I'm not worried about fragility with these parts. The worst things are actually at the hands, just the end of the hand. I'll show you that in a minute. It's able to come off a little bit too easily, but see, I was able to put that over into a different pose right there. That's a little bit of an awkward one for by Lego standards, at least. And it was pretty successful. See if I can stretch this out a little bit more. Yeah. You can do some stuff with this, which is really nice to see. And even without doing too much more, just there I rotated the joints at the tops of the thighs. See, now the whole thing is leaning back more. All of these joints are actually useful and usable, and they have enough friction in them to be able to just stop at a certain point. Probably the arms are a little bit limited, just a little bit with what you can actually do with them. Of course, I didn't really show you the wrists, but they're on a ball joint as well. Actually, let's go ahead and look a little bit closer at these arms, because each one does have a Technic pin in it, the hands that is. So, you get 3 fingers here, and then the thumb. The thumb is able to be rotated this way and come in and out. And you have that very strong, well-secured pin right there to attach the weapon to. And it's really easy to adapt other things to work with that. This is the part that's the most fragile. The holder for the fingers can just pop off because it's just attached with the pair of studs like that. So that's the only thing that I really found that I had issues with. Usually you'll find things like these flaps will be flapping around and ultimately falling off easily, or some things like this on other mechs. Those are typical weak points, but I just didn't find that to be the case here. And it's easy to get this weapon on and off. They have an interesting little shape there to make sure that it gets really embedded into the palm. I like this here, and this is the top. Kind of nice design. Doesn't look so great around the back here, but at least, they went with the red color in there that goes with the scheme. And this is a sticker right there, which I think is fine. It's a nice design. And then the head features a mono eye, which, yeah, there you go. Now you can see it. And, some light is actually refracting through there, which is nice to see. And yeah, it's expressive enough. I think the size of it is kind of appropriate. I like the little tuft suggested here. This is the reddish orange color, not just a regular orange. And you're able to move this forward and back a bit. It actually has more range when there's no pilot in place. And unfortunately, like I said, the pilot, their hair shows up just a little bit. There's Kai in there right now. To get to the cockpit, just open this up, just bring it back a bit. And interestingly, this actually has a full mech, like a small mech cockpit in there, including the core and the front bit of it. So this doubly folds out. You got the console right there, which is done with a sticker, but the figure is able to just sit very comfortably there. only wish that it could go a little bit lower, but this is pretty nicely done. And I like how the sides up here kind of clamp around. And you can also use that to help, thanks to somebody who was watching me while I was building this live over on Twitch. It's a good key for helping to manage the cape and to keep the cape kind of in control with the attempts to make it flow off to the side. One last thing, they do have an attachment point on the back. So yeah, here's what it looks like underneath from the back. So you can just take all of this out if you want. It doesn't look that great from the back, honestly, but at least it doesn't have any like blue or green or, completely off scheme colors. They have this clip here to hold on to Kai's weapon, which is something you always want to see. And you could also use this, like this can be used as a mirrored point to have the cape going the other direction, or again, just leave that off or go shorter with it. They give you some options here. Then here's a closer look at the figures. No alternate headgear piece for Kai, but obviously there is an alternate headgear piece for your Ninjago citizen over there with a nice attachment. I like how it's kind of off to the side. You can play with that a little bit, probably get it in a little bit tighter to the body, depending upon how much range you need for motion. I'll take some of this stuff off as well, but the print qualities are good. I think the graphic design is fine. These aren't the most complicated designs, but I think they look good. I think they look classy. And each one does have an alternate face, which is nice to see always, just to have, again, more options. Here are the only leftover pieces, and this is what the sticker sheet looked like. All of these were easy to apply. So at the end of the day, this set feels like a win to me. However, how about the price? Again, it's $120 US, 120 euros, 110 pounds UK, or $150 Canadian for just shy of 1,000 pieces. And the mech itself is smaller than the coal mech that everyone uses as a benchmark today. However, it does come with a significant amount of stuff for the stand. And again, comparing this to the more expensive but also larger Dragon from the same series, this one's actually usable. So it's not just a display model, in spite of the fact that they do invest a fair amount into the display features for it. So this does feel like a good compromise to me, again, for the older fans. And I hope that this will be the general approach that they take in the future. No more of that Dragon thing, because the Dragon looked nice, arguably, with the scoliosis and everything, but not being able to pick it up and do anything with it just really brought it down. Lego needs to be able to be touched and grabbed and moved around and looked at from different perspectives. And with a mech, you want to be able to pose it. You want to be able to pose a Dragon as well. See, I brought the cape down just so you can see what it looked like without that artificial thing sticking off to the side. Yeah, the price, it's kind of not surprising by 2025 Lego standards in particular, just relatively speaking. I personally would like it to be like $90. I think 90 would feel great. And that's not too far away from where it's at. That's within a reasonable range of a discount that could happen. And of course, if you live in a region where huge discounts occur on day one, great, happy for you. Most people don't have that benefit, but I do think that this is within a range for Lego being a very expensive thing, always having been a very expensive thing. I think it's within a discount of a reasonable price. And even at retail, like it doesn't feel extortionate. It doesn't feel like a total ripoff. It just feels like quite a bit. But at least, again, the thing that you get here is very good. I personally could have done without some of this, but I totally understand its existence and the purpose of it. I personally would have preferred, again, this is just me now, subjectively, I would have preferred something more beautiful, or at least if they went with an enemy for it and had that conflict in a box thing, I wish that this stood out a little bit more, because the black and then the black border around the base, those kind of fade together a little bit. If this had stood out a little bit more just with its colors, if it had gone into like some green or something like that, more of the green, not just a little tiny bit, I think that would have just brought the whole thing up. Or just have it on a nice plinth, like a little bit of mountainside. Again, I like that stuff, green mountainside. I think a lot of people would appreciate that, in spite of the source material having that dark ambiance throughout. Ultimately the merch, the toys, the collectibles can diverge from what you see on screen for the sake of making a better product. But this one is a fine product. I would have asked for a few tweaks. And this is the worst thing right here. As far as the mech is concerned, just that popping off. Otherwise, not too bad. I mean, the proportions maybe are a little bit wonky with the hands being able to reach down to the knees, but I think it's all right. And next time, like just a little flap to help further protect the dome of the pilot. Thank you for watching. I hope that this was of some value to you as a video, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.